Shiba Inu will hit 1 penny and we will all become multi-billionaires. Or so lots of people want to try and believe that. What's going on, guys? Bexio back, and today we're going to be talking about Shiba Inu, this crypto that popped off and gets everyone excited, and kind of compare it to the last meme coin of Dogecoin to see where that ended up fizzling out to right now. But Shiba Inu is this crypto that probably has more utility than Dogecoin actually, so it being at these levels might actually be more warranted than Dogecoin being at these levels. But if we look at just this chart, obviously not much you can do here. It's very kind of short-lived. I mean, it doesn't go back that far. Very just spike, you know, nothing really going on with the chart of Shiba Inu. You can't really even draw lines because it went really parabolic. But you can take it and compare this to Dogecoin, and that's what we're going to do in this video to kind of look at what might happen in the future if things play out relatively similarly. But first, a news story. This talks about why Robinhood won't list Shiba Inu on their exchange, their brokerage, talking about like SHIB versus Doge, saying the market caps are very similar, you know, basically almost the same. You know, they're a couple $100 billion or a couple $100 million off of each other, so very, very close. And I mean, it might be different now. We'll look at it on the coin market cap. And even this talking saying SHIB Army is not demanding on Twitter to get SHIB listed on Robinhood, but the petition on change.org requesting the same has been signed almost 400,000 times, and Robinhood has lower trading fees, blah, blah, blah. Shiba Inu listed on the former is likely to boost trading volume of the coin and attract a lot of new investors. So if it gets put on Robinhood, it'll probably, you know, cause a small time rally there and another push up in price. I don't think it would be as massive as what we've already seen, but I think that there's a higher likelihood that Robinhood does list this coin. If you just look at Robinhood's earnings report that they just had, I made a video on that the other day. It was not good at all because they had such a pop from Dogecoin that they're down so bad. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them add Shiba Inu into their trading and try and get some of that hype. It might be a little late for that to get a lot, but they could still probably get something and try and make more money and boost their numbers through that way. But saying it's not going to happen is probably, you know, a little off, considering how bad Robinhood's earnings was, and they want to get their users number up, their revenue up, all of that. So it's definitely not out of the picture for Robinhood to list Shiba Inu. And then comparing Shiba Inu to Dogecoin, at least trying to like look at similarities behind them. You can see this is the price chart of SHIB, and you see this, you see a spike and second spike. You go to Dogecoin, this is zoomed out more because it happened obviously more in the more longer ago than Shiba Inu. So you see same thing here though. You see spike to another spike, and then what you see after is this downtrend kind of bleed out type thing. And what can we see that on SHIB? I mean, we zoom in a little bit. You can see like obviously we have the two spikes, and then this down with a bounce. You look at this spike came down, bounced up, gave people hope. We're still fine. We can recover, and then it just ultimately bled out. And that's where we kind of are with SHIB at that point where maybe we see a bleed out, but the Robinhood news could spark it again, could give it another spike, and then bleed out from there. Who knows? I don't like getting behind like trading and these smaller coins, even though it's not a small coin anymore, but these altcoins and things that are like tradable and not fundamentally sound. I just don't like doing that. I can see why people want to. It makes you a ton of money if you're right. It's basically gambling. You can see right here on the coin market cap list, obviously the ranks of cryptos. Right now, SHIB is beating Dogecoin, which is absolutely kind of crazy. It came back to beat Dogecoin again. They've been kind of flip-flopping, but now it's got the lead with $3 billion, roughly, almost exactly $3 billion. So my guess, and I made a tweet about this, was saying that Shiba Inu will probably flip Doge. That'll be a lot of hype, but that'll probably be the peak. That's what it was designed for. It was like the Doge killer. It's coming for Dogecoin. And then once it does that, it'll probably have more of a move downward. The hype will die out. And the reason it pumped this hard is more than likely the whales that get involved. So what whales do is play this game where they take a bunch of their money, obviously put it in this asset that boosts the price up and launches it high. We saw that the price absolutely went outstandingly high. Some retail people might have been able to capture that, but it was mostly whales pushing the price up. And once they do that, they then take their price at that high, and it's all hyped on social media. Everyone's like, oh my God, sheep to a penny, this, that. Oh my God, it's going great. And then what'll happen is they sell off their bags over the period of time of the hype, and people, the retail buys in at these higher prices because they're just expecting it's good, it's going to keep going. And once they do that, then they realize there's no buyers outside of them that were going to buy the price at higher than what they bought. So what you ultimately end up doing is buying the high and then seeing the price crash to where maybe people start wanting to buy it again. But it's not, the majority of retail is not making the majority of money here. I don't believe that. I think it's definitely the whales. Obviously, $40 billion is a ton of money. So whales have to be involved. And I just think that, that's the game that they're playing. That's the game they kind of played with Doge. Now we're seeing it shape out with Shiba Inu. And when you look at these prices for Dogecoin and stuff, this is USD. But if you map over Bitcoin, you can see it in a bigger effect. Kind of, I mean, it's basically the same thing as USD. It's very similar. But I like looking at Bitcoin because what we saw with Dogecoin and Bitcoin was Dogecoin and Bitcoin rallied. Bitcoin all-time high, the 65K or whatever it was. And then that insane crash got cut in half. And then Doge crashed and all of this. And then over time, the fundamentals take over. And Bitcoin is fundamentally sound and being adopted. So that means it recovered. It came back up. It made a new all-time high. And we're trading at like 62,000 something dollars right now. Meanwhile, Dogecoin that hit 75 cents fell down to 15 or whatever, and now is at what, 28 cents, 29 cents, is nowhere near its all-time high, didn't make an all-time high, but the fundamentally sound projects, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they did make new all-time highs, some altcoins, but the fundamentally ones made all-time highs, they recovered, they're great. The ones that are trading on hype, they don't end up recovering. And even if you take this and compare it to Shiba Inu, we can see it's the same. It's very similar to the USD thing. Obviously, they're going to be very, trade very similarly in the lines. But you see spike, same story. If you go to SHIB and we turn it on Bitcoin, we're going to see the same thing. This spike, and then trending down against Bitcoin here again. So the down with the bump up, down, bump up, and then we saw that kind of get choppy here for a little bit and then ultimately bleed out against Bitcoin. So I think a lot of people need to think in the Bitcoin way where there's going to be trading against Bitcoin. It's going to be something where you gotta think of Bitcoin instead of USD, because even though maybe SHIB goes up in value against the dollar, but goes down in value against Bitcoin because Bitcoin goes up in value against the dollar. That can happen. So I'm editing the video right now and realize I didn't really put in a great example of this happening over time. So this is the Litecoin chart. You can see this is where you get the decoupling and moving away, trending down against Bitcoin. The yellow line's Bitcoin, the green line's dollars. You see this spike and stuff in dollars. Bitcoin kind of falls. And then over time, you can see a spike in dollars and rivaling it of its all-time high or its all-time thing over here, that types of stuff. But Bitcoin, it not even coming close to its all-time high against Bitcoin or even any of its recent peaks against Bitcoin. It's trending to zero. The long-term interest drove away. It's no longer there for Litecoin. This is just an example of what happens with a project that trades off a lot of hype initially, and it over a long period of time trends down against Bitcoin. So Shiba Inu, it is one of those crazy stories. There's tons of altcoins that pop off, but it's obviously a dangerous one as well. We see with Dogecoin, it got insane hype. That's when a lot of people bought in, was 60, 70 cents, and we see where that ended them up today, much, much lower in value. And I think Dogecoin will continue to bleed out over time, where Bitcoin, Ethereum, these fundamental projects that have adoption and world adoption will continue grinding upwards and continue moving their adoption forward, where you can see that. And then Dogecoin, the hype, you had companies like AMC, all these things saying they're going to accept Dogecoin. during the time was trendy. I'm sure they'll still accept it, but those announcements have died out. No companies are coming out saying they're accepting Dogecoin because it's just not really trendy. It was like free marketing when it was super hyped up, but it's just not trendy anymore. So if you're going to gamble in the altcoin casino, you just realize what you're doing, that it is pretty much gambling. Obviously, you can mark out charts and do all this stuff. I just like looking at fundamentals, doing a fundamental analysis. Some people like doing technical analysis. It's two very different things and very different time periods. So just the way I think. But as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. See you guys in my next video.